Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we're doing 1994's Above the Rim.
We have heard loud and clear, it is saying from the mountaintops that we need to start doing hood movies. And I think we have to agree with our listeners that what America needs most right now in our moment of racial injustice and our desperate need of racial healing is two middle-aged white men from the suburbs breaking down above the rim. You're welcome.
Exactly. You're welcome. Well, let's get off and running. Before we do, if you want to reach out or follow Corey or I on Twitter, you can reach out to me at Junior D's. You can reach out to Corey at Idle Poncho. And let's get this rolling. This movie, Above the Rim, stars Duane Martin as Kyle Watson, Tupac Shakur, our second Tupac movie, as Birdie, Leon, just Leon, as Tommy Shepard, Marlon Wayans as Boogaloo, and Bernie Mac as Flip.
Of all the people to be a stan of, I'm kind of a weird Leon stan.
Really?
Dude, every movie he's done, I'm kind of into it. Dude's good.
That's
like
fair.
him.
He's a good actor. He's
I like
a really
him,
good
man.
actor. This movie was directed by Jeff Pollack. And I did, again, we don't do research here, but I wanted to see who directed this because it seemed like a very Spike Lee type of movie. The way it was shot, quick cuts, skipping from scene to scene to scene in the middle of a scene. But it seemed like a Walmart version of Spike Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff Pollack apparently just bit Spike Lee's entire style and just stole the way Spike Lee directs and shoots a movie. He only has like 3 movies, according to IMDb, so I could be wrong, but 3 movies that he directed, this being his first, which was in 1994. Spike Lee was like 86, 88 when he started getting like actual recognition for being a director.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, this dude literally just stole everything from Spike Lee and went, cool, we're making a movie about the hood. So let's go ahead and just rip everything from Spike Lee. Awesome. I just want to get that out of the way. And the second thing that I don't want to get out of the way because we'll probably mention it a couple times. The soundtrack to this movie was awesome. Literally the entire soundtrack was like my high school years. Like
this was all death row. And I grew up in Arizona, which isn't exactly, west, but it is more towards California than it is the East Coast. So where I was, all we had was West Coast rap. So this soundtrack, yes, was right in my wheelhouse. And I mean, let's be honest, any soundtrack that features Nate Dogg, you win.
Play no games, cause ain't nobody playing with me.
I want Nate Dogg to like sing the narration to my life. Like that's what I want.
That'd be amazing. Unfortunately, it'd be very sad. It'd be like, boring ass white guy takes a shit.
Oh shit. Well, let's get into this one. The movie opens with a young Tommy Shepard and his friend Nutso. They're playing basketball on the rooftop. They bet on clapping the backboard. Nutso claps this shit so hard that not only does he break the backboard, he goes flying off the rooftop like this motherfucker thought he was Superman.
Yeah.
And he falls to his death. And throughout this movie, Tommy and Shep, as they call him, is haunted by this throughout this entire movie. I had a similar story, just like this, happened to me when I was in high school, just like Tommy.
Is your name Jim Carroll?
But instead of Nutso, my friend's name was Nunzio. And we were betting on who can touch the bottom of the net, and we both lost. So That haunted me for years. But anyway.
You guys had them ups, huh? Going for the bottom of the net, not even the second ring.
Two 5'8" Italians like, hey, Nunzio, can you hit the bottom of the net?
Kobe!
It then quick cuts to high school basketball game. Kyle Watson is playing for his high school team with the white dude from the real world.
Mad real. All right.
Not that guy. This guy.
And start getting real.
The real world.
Dude, you guys are not going to believe this. You got to see this, please.
His name in the credits, if it's not Chad, fire whoever wrote this shit.
Just to let you know, I did not look this up, and I'm not 100% positive, but my wife was like, is that Eric Nice or Nice or something? And I was like, how the hell do you even know that dude's name? She was like, he's from the real world.
Every woman that grew up in the 90s knows who Eric fucking Nice is.
No.
And this is my plea to anyone writing or directing a basketball movie. Stop casting these corn-fed fucks from Nebraska to play basketball because we look like assholes. That's not a good representation of white basketball. Every time I see that, I'm like, you fuck, like I could school this motherfucker. And for a basketball movie, there's like 3 people in this movie that could beat me.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I am so sick of this fucking tight end for the Nebraska Cornhuskers getting cast as the white guy on the basketball team.
Yeah!
Zach
Morris plays in the fucking tournament at the end of this shit. Get the fuck out of here with this shit, dude. Come on.
Damn it!
A couple of things, just to start out.
Yes.
Kyle is a ball hog and a bitch. Can I just say that?
Yeah, he can't dribble really well. They keep talking about like, oh, his dribbling and his moves. Motherfucker's dribbling above his head. Come on.
So he hogs the ball. His whole thing is like, I scored 30 points. Or actually, I think it was like 26. And I'm like, bitch, you scored 26 in a high school game and you're supposed to go to Georgetown? That ain't happening. I'm sorry. No. But
I like how it takes the coach, and I'm jumping ahead, I apologize, but it takes the coach like literally 40 minutes into this movie to tell Kyle like, hey, you never gave your team a chance to be good out there because all you do is fucking shoot.
Yeah. If you played basketball ever in your life, everybody's got this friend, chokes at the end like, well, that's a foul. He caught me on the elbow. I'm like, bitch, I didn't even fucking touch you. Except Kyle takes it to another level where not only is it like, he caught me. No, he flips the fuck out and tries to like kill people and attack the referees on the court when he doesn't get the call. Kyle needs to settle down. From the beginning of this movie, I'm like, Kyle, you need to settle down. You need to find your chi and like move on with your day and get better at basketball.
See, you've never played basketball. You make up for suckage by talking mad shit and threatening other people.
You're goddamn right.
Here's the other question I have. Because at the game is Shep, who's like a security guard for the high school and used to play at the high school, and coach gave him a security guard job. But also Tupac is there. Yep. And Tupac, which we find out later is Shep's brother, is chewing on a cigar. He's chewing on the cigar with the wrapper still, like the plastic wrap still.
Yeah, that's patient zero of coronavirus shit right there.
I didn't know that was a thing.
You know how much nasty shit has touched that plastic wrapper? There's a reason they wrap that shit in plastic in the first place.
After the game, Boogaloo, who is played by Marlon Wayans, which they call him Boog, just gets out of jail, meets Kyle after his game. Brings him to see Birdie at the club. Birdie wants Kyle to play for his team at the shootout tournament and gives him money and drinks and, women and like, you're going to play for me now. Kyle's like, yeah, let me think about it. Just FYI, that's not how this shit works. No, you're playing. And that's just how that's going to work.
Yeah. You were playing before you took the money, before you got that lady. The second you took a drink,
yeah,
you were playing. You were his. It was over. And by the way, side note, this is my by far favorite Tupac role. absolutely love him in this movie.
He kills it. Like, I hate it.
Literally and figuratively.
High five. That's right.
I hated the fact in all of the roles that Tupac played, it was just like, we need a drug dealer and a bad guy. Hey, get Tupac on the phone, see if he wants to do it. Like, I hate that he was typecast like that.
Yeah.
Because I think his range was bigger than just like, play the drug dealer in this movie.
Well, I know like a lot of people like him in Poetic Justice because he's all in his thug feelings and he gets to actually act a little bit more and have real monologues. But in this role, dude, he's so good in this role. He
crushes it.
And it's not like Bishop from Juice, because that motherfucker was crazy.
Yes.
This dude, Birdie, he gets it. He's a strategist. He's playing it all out. He knows exactly what he's doing right up until the very end.
But you quick cut to, after this, to Shepard playing shadow basketball with no ball against Nunzio. I had a real issue with this because they quick cut to him playing this shadow basketball game because, he's going crazy because his friend jumped off the roof, whatever. There's a million different ways, like, I don't know, the dream at the beginning that you can show that this is, he's dealing with this the entire movie without him playing, like, looking like a crazy person playing a shadow basketball game against ghosts.
You were right.
And not just, playing the game, but talking out loud to his buddy.
That's when they get towards the end of this movie, and I know we're jumping around a lot.
Yeah.
I apologize. But when they get to the end of this movie and he's like, you hear that, Nutso? He owes me. Are we good? Dude, that's when me as Kyle, I'm done with you altogether.
Yeah.
It's over. Like, you're talking to your ghost friend in heaven.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye. I don't give a shit what you know about basketball. Bye.
Listen,
I'm done.
Mental illness is real. Just FYI. This shit's real. Kyle goes to work out with Boog at the park. He runs into Flip, played by Bernie Mac. And I don't give a shit what Bernie Mac's doing, what role he's playing. That dude is solid. Every role he crushes. But he plays Flip, who basically used to play basketball with Shep back in the day in high school, and now he's homeless. He wants to play Kyle one-on-one in the park. Kyle beats him and mocks him. They chase him outside of the court. Shep steps in. And
yeah, like, I remember being a kid, you're trying to stunt in front of your friends. And like, oh, Boog's been to prison. I got to show out and blah, blah, blah. But the whole thing just felt like really awkward and forced.
A little bit, yeah.
Like, what's in it for you other than hepatitis C than beating the shit out of this bum? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I did like the
nothing in it for you.
I did like the line from Marlon Wayans here, though. He said, "You're playing bum on one."
Yeah.
There's a couple lines in this movie where I'm like, oh shit, they're hilarious. But Coach and Shep have this talk that Coach wants him to be a coach after he retires or some sort of shit.
Shep went to prison because of Nutso's death, right? Because he says towards the end, like, oh, it ends in handcuffed for me and yada. Like, he alludes to the fact that he went to prison. And if I'm wrong, comment below. But if he went to prison, even for involuntary manslaughter for Nutso, he can't coach high school kids. The fuck are you talking about?
Well, I don't think, because they never actually say that he went to prison. And Birdie later in the movie says something like he just bounced. He just left town.
Right.
And like after that whole thing, it fucked him up and he left. So it was never said that he actually went to jail for that.
Right. There's just one line that Leon gives.
Yeah, about the handcuffs. Yeah.
Yeah, that really kind of made me think that was what happened. But again, I don't know. Either way, if you went to prison, don't expect to be coaching high school kids.
Coach starts busting Kyle's balls. This is where you get the speech about it's about the team and you didn't give the team a chance and yada yada.
one thing in this movie that I thought they did really well was all the instructions, because this is where he tells him, to spread your fingers out, snap your wrist a little bit more. All of the instructions given by whomever's giving them throughout this movie are 100% accurate in what you should be doing.
Yes.
And credit to the director for making Duane Martin shoot those jump shots like garbage.
Yeah.
Because when he starts shooting them, his feet are real close together, and it's just like,
Yeah.
And I really, really like that attention to detail, because it did make it seem like, actual instruction.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like Hoosiers or White Men Can't Jump, where, it's just a totally different version of basketball.
At this point, Kyle tells Coach that he's going to play for Birdie's team in this shootout tournament. He's not playing for him. This is the biggest piece of fiction in this movie, because the second he goes, I got myself another team, Coach. Coach would have been like, cool. So you're clearing out your locker then? Or what's going on? Because you're not on my team if you're on their team. Yeah, exactly.
No fucking way. And by the way, not for nothing, there's no, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe there was different hood rules than where I grew up, because it was suburban Arizona, not very ghetto. But there's no way in hell a high school coach is taking his team into a tournament like that, a street ball tournament, like this fake ass Rutgers shit they're trying to do.
Yeah, that's
no way a high school team is playing in that.
You're right again.
Especially playing against grown ass men in a physical fucking. There's no way.
Yep.
I've played in 2 tournaments with like a 5-on-5 street ball tournament, and the physicality in it is 100% legit. A little over the top with some stuff, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But like, I got the shit kicked out of me.
Yeah.
These grown ass men are out there to win money. They don't give a fuck that you're a high school kid.
No, they're not fucking around. We see Shep at his mom's grave. Birdie walks up on him, and this is where we find out that they're brothers. And Birdie got all fucked up after his friend died and left town and said, fuck his whole family. And Birdie had to find a way to take care of their mom, and that's how he got into selling drugs and doing his shit.
I like that story too, because again,
it's a
separating
great story.
him from Bishop, where you're not just this fucking lunatic.
Yep.
You're doing this out of necessity, which 9 times out of 10, that's why you're doing it.
Exactly.
Not very many people like doing that shit. They have to.
Yep. Offers him a partnership in his little business, and Shep says no, because I'm a good guy and I don't do that. And
well, Shep seems to just say no arbitrarily to anything. He's like my fucking prom date. Just a blanket no for the night.
Boog and Kyle are in the next scene are riding with Mota. They see Shep playing make-believe basketball again with his ghostly friend, and they're joking around until Mota basically tells them to cut the shit. They're doing business that night, and they got places to be. He has him pull over so he can collect for Birdie. It goes from, and we've seen this in some other movies. We've seen it in movies like Goodfellas, where everything's jokey and then all of a sudden it takes this right-hand turn and it gets incredibly violent really quickly. Kyle and Boog see this happening, and it goes from like this, they're joking around, to holy shit. And I think this is where Kyle gets his first look into like, oh shit, I think I made the wrong choice. in hooking up with this crew.
It's not all cars and bitches and respect. And it's dirty. It's a nasty fucking game.
And he doesn't want me to just play basketball. He wants me to fucking run with his crew. So Shep meets Kyle's mom at a local diner. They start dating.
That happens very quickly because they meet at the first basketball game.
Yeah.
And they have the confrontation. Yeah. Then she scares the shit out of him because he's in his feelings. And then, like, the next scene, they're dating.
Yeah.
And we only know they're dating because Kyle walks by with no real idea of a progression of time and sees them in a restaurant, like, very clearly not on their first date.
Yes.
Like, they're very comfortable with each other. So,
And he sees Shep and his mom on this date and gets furious. And then again, quick cut to another high school basketball game. Kyle ball hogging again. Shep sees coach and accepts the coaching offer this time. Like he walks into his office, accepts the coaching offer. And then Kyle and his mom, again, quick cut to Kyle and his mom arguing about her dating Shep, which this is where another fucking classic line in this movie is, where he says, "You gotta be here to ground me," when he's talking about her going out with Shep all the time. And she replies with,
"I can ground you from a payphone, boy."
It was a great line, and the way she delivers it is perfect.
The mom in this is incredible.
I was just gonna say that. His mom is fantastic throughout this movie.
This is what was very refreshing about it. In most of these movies, you get the cliched mom who's strung out. She's either an alcoholic or a fucking junkie.
Yeah.
Or she's working so hard that she's just a fucking bitch the whole time and isn't really trying to pay attention to her son. This isn't her. She's showing a real interpretation of what a real working mother in this world looks like.
Exactly.
She's out there working. She's taking care of her kids. She's trying to hang on. I mean, fuck, dude. One of the saddest lines in this thing is where she talks about dreams with Shep.
Yep.
And she says, like,
I dream about my son surviving, getting a good education, and making something positive out of his life.
Her character seems to have the most depth.
Yes.
Than anybody else. Like, you actually get like a natural, organic story from her. Yes. Whereas Leon seems a little bit forced. Kyle seems a little bit forced on down the line.
Yeah. And after this, Kyle goes to Flip to ask him about Shep and get his like background. And then Birdie just seems to pop up out of nowhere all the time. He's just like, "Hey, what's going on over here? You guys talking? Can I get out on this?"
Good morning.
This is where Kyle finds out that Shep and Birdie are brothers. Flip basically flips out on Birdie and Motah here. And they're like, "Oh, okay, we're going to kill that dude. Sweet." Cut to next scene. You cut to more basketball. Kyle can't pay attention at this basketball game because he sees his mom and Shepard. Full disclosure here, I'm not a child of divorce. I don't know what it's like to see my mom dating somebody. And I'm assuming it would be kind of hard. But I did play sports, and there are, outside distractions when you're a young kid growing up playing sports, especially as you start to get to higher levels. But I have never been so distracted in a game where I'm literally not even, my eyes aren't even focused on the field or the court. I'm like this. He's like this the whole fucking game. Balls are just flying by his head, and he's playing like shit because his mom and Shepard are playing the fucking coochie-coo up in the goddamn stands. During this scene, and again, quick cut to Birdie killing Flip, which is the weakest ass murder scene, I will say, of all time. This is the weakest ass murder scene of all time. It like gives him a bitch slap and then I guess stabs him. I don't know, but it's a really quick cut to that and then cut back to basketball.
Yeah, well, I think we're also forgetting the devastation that was brought in the 90s with Recognize, Motherfucker.
Recognize, motherfucker.
Anytime somebody said that, it was going down.
Shit just got real.
And then, the razor blade just whack, whack, whack. Like, you're going to be there for a week trying to cut through Bernie Mac's thick-ass neck with a razor blade.
You were correct. It's fact.
Because it cuts back to the basketball. Kyle flips the fuck out after he gets ejected from the basketball game after getting, into a fight with Eric Nunzio or whatever the fuck his name is from the Mad Real World.
Mad Real.
He gets escorted into the locker room and then does his best Will Ferrell impression with the chair on the lockers.
We've got too far. There's too much to lose. We've got to keep our composure.
He then, after he's in the locker room, chair against the lockers, he flips out on Shepard for dating his mom And then his mom comes, like everybody, every main character is now in the fucking locker room at this point.
Right.
He flips
Birdie's
out.
sitting on Birdie's hiding behind a locker waiting to pop out at some point.
Good morning.
You guys talking about me? Oh, you're not? Okay. So Kyle's mom smacks the shit out of him at this point. He immediately goes to, well, why don't you talk to Shep about it? Shep, why don't you fucking... And Shep just bounces. He's just like, oh, we're talking about me. I gotta go.
I didn't get that either, because I'd be like, what about it? What have I done at this point in this movie? Like, we've had 2 scenes together.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Ask me. All I did was tell you to spread your fucking the web of your hand out a little bit and flip your wrists.
Yeah. Shep tries to help out Kyle, gives him the "you owe it to everybody who got you there" speech.
I actually really liked that interaction. Kyle being so adamant about like, I owe you, and then just like, no, you don't. You owe yourself and everybody that brought you here, which is the best piece of advice you could ever give in a movie. Yes. Flat out. Because you don't owe anybody shit.
Yep, exactly.
You don't.
And then after this, you cut to the shootout. And Kyle shows up, gives Birdie the bag of, I don't know, the uniform and money, whatever the hell else is in the bag, and says, I'm done with this bullshit. I'll see you later. And he goes and joins his high school coach's team. A, this is not a smooth transition, just in real life. A. B, pretty sure Birdie just pistol whips him at this point and says, no, you're playing on my team. But
yeah,
in the movie, it's like, okay, he quits Birdie's team. He goes to play for his high school coach's team. Let me guess, they meet in the finals. Quick cuts to a bunch of, different teams playing, those 2 teams playing. And guess what? They meet in the finals. And then Birdie goes to Kyle and says, hey, I heard you got into Georgetown, which Kyle just found out like 15 minutes ago that he got into Georgetown and got recruited. But Birdie, somebody get a Georgetown? Yep. All right, cool. Thanks. Yep. Good information.
Yeah, Birdie was hiding in the envelope. What are you talking about?
He was in John Thompson's office. He was under
Mr. Thompson, I'll type that acceptance letter right up. Thank you.
So he goes to Kyle and says, hey, if you don't throw the game, I'm going to call Georgetown, because they're going to believe some random dude is like, yeah, Kyle was totally taking money from me and doing a bunch of other hood shit. Like, Georgetown would be like, first of all, who the fuck is this? Birdie?
Oh, Birdie. Cool. Click. Nice chat, dipshit.
So we go into the game. Kyle tries to throw the game. Again, because it's a movie, what's going to happen. I don't need to watch the end, but he turns it around. And then Shep, first of all, for somebody who's leaving town, because in towards the end of this, Birdie and Shep have another conversation. He's like, I just came here to say goodbye because, you're leaving town. I heard you were leaving. Again, Birdie heard. So, but for a guy who's leaving town, it sure takes him a fucking long time to leave town.
Yeah, this is the second time he's left town. The town has done nothing but create nightmares and crazy stuff in his brain for him. Yes. And yet he's taking a tour of his horrors.
That's not how that works. But
why? Like, there's the rooftop where Nutso dropped. Hey, man, drive me to the playground where I totally disappointed this kid and lost the woman I'm in love with.
Yes. He sees the 2 kids playing basketball, and he's like, I guess I'll play in the shootout tournament. And the high school coach has him on the active roster for said tournament? What the fuck is that about? Like,
this is what I mean by you are not taking your high school team to a tournament. He's throwing the security guard on because, like, I know what that fucker could do. Just on the off chance that he's like, I need to set things right, I'm putting him on my roster. That's how good that dude is. And I guarantee you, Birdie had him on his roster. The coach of the red team had him on the roster. The fucking New York Knicks that night had him on the roster.
Listen,
everybody put Tommy Shepard on the roster that day.
Not in 1994, but at some point the New York Knicks had me on their roster. So let's just fucking that's how hard up the Knicks got at one point. But so Shep comes in, takes a little bit of a beating. Kyle comes back in the game after injuring his ankle. And then they win the game. Awesome. And then Birdie hands Mota a bag with a gun in it and says, go handle your business. To which Mota, in broad daylight, in a crowd, he goes to shoot Kyle. Shep jumps in front of it. He shoots Shep. And then there's, I don't know, a few cops there that are undercover, possibly, because they weren't wearing, like, they weren't in their blues.
I'm telling you right now, if you think there are no cops in plain clothes at a tournament like that, you're out of your fucking minds.
One of the cops just opens fire and just mows down Mota here, so he dead.
What exactly is on the line at this basketball tournament that you now have to kill Kyle? Because again, this isn't juice. Birdie is a smart, strategic motherfucker. He's got everything on lock. He knows everything that's happening on the streets.
So
he lost the basketball tournament and gets so pissed that he hands his top lieutenant a gun and says, go handle your business.
Yeah. Well, so this
what the fuck was on the line at this tournament?
This is what I see, because not only is Birdie a drug dealer, I'm assuming I don't think it's said in the movie, but I'm assuming that he's got money on all these games. Like, he's not looking for the tournament money and the trophy. Like, he don't give a shit about that. I'm assuming he has money on these games, which is why he wants Kyle to throw the game, because he's gambling on the games. That's
sure.
I mean, that's what I had in my head, but, you know, I'm a degenerate gambler, so that's always in my head. I don't know if it was ever said in the movie, but that's where my brain went with it. And, like, he lost me a bunch of money, go kill him. That's where my brain went.
I guess. But then I'm going to go back and even say, like...
But for a movie, you need to say that, though, for a movie.
One, you have to say it. And two, why wouldn't you kill Shep? You were still winning the game when Kyle got put back in.
Because it's your brother, and you can't kill your brother.
The fuck he can? He kills everybody else. You don't know this motherfucker.
Dude, I'm just throwing shit out there. Don't fucking get mad at me.
That's just it. I think it did, and the only reason I'm harping on it so much is because it did a discredit to Birdie as a character. Because up until this point, he's all the way cool. Yeah. Even like, oh, you got into Georgetown. Here's how this is going down.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, oh, I lost the basketball game. Go kill him right now.
Yeah.
No, like Birdie would wait to kill that motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? He'd wait to do stuff.
Well,
I understand bow ties. It's a movie. We get it.
Yeah.
But come on.
But
Birdie's better than that.
No, I absolutely agree with that. But you cut to Kyle on TV playing for Georgetown in the conference championship, and he hits the game-winning shot, pans away from the TV to see Coach watching it on TV with his mom, and Shepard survived, and they're like in love or whatever.
I actually like the fact that they did have him survive, because so often in these hood movies, you get the tragedy that uplifts and carries the person to victory at the end. Yep. I like that nobody had, other than Flip, nobody died to get Kyle to where he is. No tragedy had to happen to project Kyle into greatness. He had it there all along. He just needed guidance.
Yeah, exactly. And then,
so I like that.
Yeah, and then it cuts to Kyle doing the post-game interview, and what were you thinking during the last shot? And he goes back to,
I was just thinking about spreading my fingers and popping my wrist. You know what?
Call back. Spread your fingers, snap your wrists. That's what I was thinking. And then it just fades to black.
Cue regulators.
Cue regulators. Mount up. So
we also miss Boog shooting Bird in the chest.
Yes.
Which, can I say, dude, watching Tupac get shot in slow motion there, I didn't like that. I was very uncomfortable watching
not feeling
that.
that.
Not even joking. I was just like, oh, I don't want to watch that. That was too real.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
No, I hear you too. I hear you. I was the same way. But okay, so we'll do this first. I still think this movie holds up. I think this movie is entertaining. If you suffer from seizures, you might want to skip this one because the quick cuts, just cuts around too goddamn fast. And I was like, Jesus, if I suffered from seizures, I'd be dead right now.
Yes.
But the movie's good. The script is okay. There's some things that I would just, the whole ghost basketball thing, I would get rid of that. There's a couple of different like storylines in here that I probably would have just gotten rid of because we don't need them. Overall, though, I think all the I had an issue with one character in this whole movie, and it was Boog. It was Marlon Wayans. Marlon Wayans is a comedic actor, and I can't buy him as I went to prison, I'm rolling with Bird, and I'm doing all this, you know, I'm selling drugs or doing drugs and blah, blah, blah. And he shows that he's like the goofball, which is fine. But it just, he took away my attention because of who he is as an actor.
Motherfucker jerk off to winning.
It took my
That's
attention
where
away.
I thought he played that role perfectly because every crew I've ever met had that fool. That guy that was just hanging around.
That's fair.
And the guys let him hang around because he'd make them laugh or he'd do some stupid shit. And, you know, he was inconsequential.
You basically described the first like 25 years of my life.
Well, how do you think I know it so well? I was the fool. But yeah, no, I liked everybody in this movie. Way I would describe this movie is the architecture, if it were a home, it's kind of shoddily built, but they decorated it so nicely with the actors, that it looks like a nice place.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it because all the actors do fucking fantastic. And I'm glad we're doing these movies and we decided to, you know, listen to our commenters and take some suggestions because you don't see movies like this now. Like these movies back then were, and what I did like about them, and I know I ripped on Jeff Pollack and ripping off Spike Lee, but what I really liked about these movies in the 90s was they were really raw.
And I did that.
But yeah, no, other than that, I liked this movie. I loved it back then.
Yep.
As an adult, I still like it. I still think it holds up. And goddamn, again, the soundtrack is fantastic. From the beginning of this movie, it opens with a Tupac song and ends with Regulators.
Yep.
You can't go wrong with this soundtrack. So
no.
Just based on the soundtrack alone, I would have said this stands the test of time. But
oh yeah, there's a good chance I try and buy the soundtrack at some point today.
Back up, cause it's on.
Well, do you have anything else for the movie?
I don't. Really don't. Keep the suggestions coming, please, because we love it.
Absolutely.
Again, whatever you suggest, we're pretty much going to do. We'll have an opinion on anything.
Because that's what we do. All right. Well, if you don't have anything else, neither do I. For Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1994's Above the Rim.
Recognize, motherfucker.